killed the dinosaurs. The Ice Age.
You want a cup of Joe with juice?
I'm gonna make you famous, Lizzie.
It's not Al anymore. It's Dunk.
Dunkachino?
Don't mind if I do.
I'm the Joker, baby.
Welcome to Lights Camera Barstool, episode 39 of Season 2. Jeff Lowe, Ken Jack, Chris Castellani. We are talking about a movie that came out a long time ago today. Finally getting to it. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Also an interview with one Tom Jane from Arrested Development. Also many other things, but...
primarily Arrested Development.
And then we're also going to do a draft of movie scenes that make you tear up, because there's some emotional scenes in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Our sister podcast, as we'll call every podcast a Barstool sister podcast. Dog Walk, Chicago Dog. They did one very similar recently. Just noting that off the top, but we will be doing that as well. We weren't on that one. And that's not a shot at it. Actually, yeah, fuck Eddie, right?
Yeah, Eddie, fuck you, dude.
Put this out.
Why'd you have
Fuck
Kate
Eddie.
on for that? What the hell was that?
Fuck
man?
that idiot Eddie. Love Eddie.
I can't do that. I love Eddie too much. I can't even.
What a piece of shit that guy is. Now, go check that out. It was a really good episode. I'm curious if we're gonna have different stuff. We're gonna. We said tear up. I think you can make it positive and negative too. They were mostly, if I recall, all sad.
Almost entirely negative.
Yeah.
Well, actually, wait, no, I can remember one that was positive, but yeah, mostly negative.
Yeah. But first, this episode brought to you by Allbirds. That's right, footwear company that creates shoes that are made from natural materials. Better for you, better for the planet. I've worn Allbirds for years. Lightweight, very springy, comfortable. If you're running, if you're just hanging out, it doesn't matter. But their Tree Flyer sneakers are fantastic. I've worn the Wool Runners forever. I got them dirty as shit this weekend here in Belmar, New Jersey at DJ's, which is, if you've been to this area of the New Jersey, it's dirty floors. Great place, dirty floors. Cleaned them off, great. No issue. And like a shoe like that, like you'd think like that's going to be destroyed. No, great, good to go. But they're Tree Flyer sneakers, the other one we're talking about, great cushion, great comfort. If you run, I don't. They're fantastic. I run to like be first in line for like pizza or something. Like that's what I don't run for like fucking workout purposes. But if you do, they're great. And also you can dress them up, like they're not just for working out. It's lighter weight. Wearing Allbirds, it's like pillows on, like seriously, like it's like wearing air. The midsole is super light, very cushiony. Heel provides good balance for a good stable ride, whether you're running, walking, all that and more. So lace up with the Tree Flyer or anything at Allbirds. Allbirds, ALLBIRDS.com. That's allbirds.com. Also a really great collection of shoelaces too at the company. And I know that not like shoelaces aren't like a normal, like Allbirds didn't invent shoelaces, but if you get a couple of neutral color shoes, you can really change them up with just the shoelaces, which is always nice. So highly suggest.
Easy to clean too. I cleaned one of mine for the first time the other day. It was super, super fast.
And they don't, the sole is very, very easy to clean, like very quick. And that's always the part of the shoe that looks the most hideous. So go to Allbirds, allbirds.com. Fantastic shoe company. Before we get into it, let's go. Ken Jack went to, I'm jealous. I tried to go. It didn't make sense. I'm spending my weekends to shore all summer. I rented a shore house with one of my coworkers, Glenn Balls, not here this weekend. So I tried to go back to New York for the U.S. Masters, the darts event, featuring some of the greatest darts throwers in the world, from Michael Van Gerwen to Gerwin Price, all that and more. I'm a huge darts fan, massive darts fan. I watch as much as I can possibly watch. The Premier League darts. I was bummed I couldn't go. It looked pretty electric. Every single person, in the Premier League for darts, every single person for Premier League darts is just an absolutely electric factory. Like it is, like it's nothing like you've ever seen. Like everyone in the Premier League is unreal, and they just put on a fucking show, and they're literally just throwing darts. That's all they do. But how was it? How was darts?
It was incredible. We all met at ex Barstool employee Mikey Podcast's apartment, and there's like, as we're getting in, there's like a few people, right? And then all of a sudden we realized it's actually like there's 55 people lined up to go to this darts game.
The amount of tickets that were purchased.
Huge amount of people we all walk there, and as we're getting into MSG, we were legit just chanting, "Let's go darts," because none of us know really that much about darts. All we know is that we love Gerwin Van Price, and that's it. Van Gerwen. I almost said that's the problem. Is that there's another guy named Gerwin. Yeah, Michael
Price
Gerwin.
and Michael Van Gerwen.
Yeah, so Michael Van Gerwen. But like, so we're going into the Hulu Theater, which is behind MSG. We're all just chanting like it's deafening because it's like an echo chamber. Just let's go darts, screaming like crazy. The commissioner comes out. And we boo the fuck out of him. We don't know anything about this guy. We booed the shit out of him to the point where he very much noticed it. And every single time he would like try to do a little prelim thing, we would just start chanting, "We want darts." And it drowned him out of the entire amphitheater. And he couldn't fucking hear anything. And like, so we go through like the first preliminary rounds. Like we don't really know most of the people going except for the guy with the crazy mohawk who he's like #1 in the world. Something
Peter Wright.
Peter Wright. Yeah. We don't know most of them, but Van Gerwen comes out last. The place exploded for this like lumpy looking Dutchman. It is incredible. Don't know
darts, there's a chance you've seen.
You have to.
Darts, yeah. There's the 9 darter. It's electric. It's incredible to watch when you throw 9 perfect darts. You've probably seen the video. If you've seen darts, you know darts. You've probably seen the video, but it's this larger bald man. He's Dutch. He is just insane, and his fist pumps are crazy. But there's one where he almost threw 18 consecutive perfect darts. He threw 17 consecutive perfect darts. And it would have been the first time it was ever televised. So it actually doesn't like a 9 dart finish doesn't, because there wasn't one this weekend, right? There wasn't a 9 dart.
No, he's the only one that came close, like at all. He did like 4 different occasions. He got like 2 darter, 2 darter, 2 darter. And like we were waiting for it. And every time there's a 180, like people are going ballistic. Doesn't matter who's up.
Did you have the 180 signs?
Oh yeah, I had a 180 sign with like it had Bet365 on the top. He tore it all off. So it was you're having fun with it.
The guy, he's like 100,
180, and like it's ballistic.
It is absolutely a fucking blast to watch. But it is my current dream sporting event to go to. I would go to. I don't care where it is in like in the UK. I would go to any event. The playoffs actually are next week. The playoffs for darts. You saw a couple of the guys who are in the Final Four. John Clayton. Johnny Clayton, I know, is in it. Michael Van Gerwen, James Wade is in it.
Van Gerwen can't play. He has carpal tunnel. He's getting surgery on carpal tunnel. He's not going to make it.
There was a huge. He had a COVID issue at one point. I think it was last
year. Also, that Scottish guy who I believe was Clayton. He almost missed the tournament because he had bad Wi-Fi and missed out on the invitation, which is also just amazing. That's just darts.
It is so fucking cool. They all have their own, like, again, like you mentioned the Mohawk. Almost all of them are tatted up. That's one of the other funny things too. Like they're all tatted up. They got the #1 guy in the world, Peter Wright. He has these crazy Mohawks that he changes up every time. Gerwin Price is this Welshman. He won the Premier League a few years ago. He is a lunatic on stage.
Dude, he went nuts. Every time he even hit a dart, he was like fist pumping, like flexing and shit on everyone. It was awesome.
It's fun to watch, and the crowds for these events, they're just in England, like they're just drunk and they're drinking and they're throwing their beer in the air, and it is a fucking party. And it's just fun. It's fun to watch. It's not just the 9 darters. You're like, just go watch like dart compilation videos. You'll get addicted. It's awesome.
Our group, which was like, it was again like 50 people in a section. We were flanked on all sides by British people, and like they gradually throughout the course of the game realized we didn't really know a lot about darts. And they're like, you guys are like, you're pulling our leg. Like, you really don't know anything about darts that much. And we're just like, no, we just fucking love the atmosphere. We wanted to come by. And like, they're all doing like these very specific chants, and we're just chanting, let's go darts. And Michael Van Gerwen to like the tune of like a bunch of different songs. And like, we were just having an absolute goddamn blast. And I would highly recommend going to a darts competition to anyone. Everyone just got blasted. Like people were throwing shit everywhere. Like you were saying, like it was insane. Like we weren't even out of the quarterfinals when people were stumbling, getting their way up the stairs, like falling down drunk. Like it was incredible.
I just love that Michael Van Gerwen is gonna. I hadn't read his quote yet. It is very funny about his carpal tunnel. Yeah, right after the playoffs are done, so he's gonna miss the World Cup. Check if you haven't. I'm telling you, like if you haven't checked it out, and if you have a trip to the UK anytime soon, you're a sports fan. Like I actually don't know because like I have been to London once. It was 10 years ago. I don't know what like tickets are like, but if you have an opportunity to go, you should go. Now, granted, the season's about to be over, but if you have an opportunity to go to one of these things, it starts in February, ends now in June. Go to a Premier League because it looks like a fucking blast. Like an absolute blast.
They were only like $40 and like to get our entire section, like each person. It was nuts.
Crazy.
Crazy. Oh man, I would do that again in an absolute heartbeat. It was such a blast.
So yeah, check out darts.
Check them out.
Darts. Movie news and stuff. Let's start off with the top. Kenobi thoughts. Let's do Kenobi episode 3 thoughts. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched Kenobi yet. Though at this point, I mean, come on, it's Monday. So it's like if you haven't watched now, I'm not sure. Like maybe you're busy, but I gotta figure you don't care that much. Wild episode. An episode that's making people poop themselves because they think it's ruined fucking canon and everything. Even though like
that guy was so funny.
If you really read the script, it's like it really doesn't. Like, yeah, it pushes the limits, but literally anything they do now is going to probably push the boundaries of like what George Lucas said. Though granted, George Lucas also Leia. That's why I quote tweeted that guy who was like, he's like, you're fucking what George Lucas said. I'm like, I don't know. George Lucas said that Leia knew her fucking mother, and then like 20 years later said she didn't. So I don't really know what to fucking tell you on that one.
Such a baby.
It's like it's literally like George. Like, so I think it's okay. But yeah, Obi-Wan and Vader showdown, and it was Vader's a dick, kills a kid, a teen. Not that he hasn't done that before. Snaps someone's neck. I thought it was a fucking cool episode. I thought it was surreal to see. It was one of those like you watch, you're like, well, what the fuck? This is kind of crazy. Like it's Vader Obi-Wan. This is wild.
Yeah. I would agree. I think the Vader scenes were the best part of that. And I think that Reva gained a lot of brownie points with me because I didn't enjoy her first 2 appearances very much, but I think she was way better in this one. The 5th brother as well, which I believe is Sung Kang. He was awesome. That effect they put on his voice is so cool. Like that almost like robotic little like after effect thing is sick. Also that creature, that like collaborator creature thing that they had was very funny. That was voiced by Zach Braff the entire time I watched. I was like, oh, Seth Rogen cameo. That's cool. Nope. Zach Braff. I thought he was cool. The only thing that I think I took away from this episode is that I think the soundtrack is just not up to par.
That's my thing. I agree. I don't know what it is. And Chris, I'm curious what you think about this too. So I was going to tweet it, but I'm going to save it for the episode. So the Reva thing, I like Reva, whatever. I know it's a whole fucking other thing and some people don't like her. I think some people don't like her for probably very justifiable reasons. A different character. Some people are definitely being racist. She shared some of the stuff online. As long as she doesn't do fucking parkour again, I'm okay. Like the parkour running needs to just never like so bad. Just didn't look right. The soundtrack is my one. And Chris, I'll let you talk about this. Doesn't it sound like they're about to go into the Force theme every time and they don't? But it almost like it's something's like weird about it. Just something's weird about the theme. I don't know what it is.
You know what it reminds me of, and I actually love this movie, is the music in Rogue One, where you had Giacchino, who's brilliant for the record, but that entire movie, I remember being like, I feel like we're about to get iconic Star Wars music
but then
here.
It stopped short.
Right, and then you're teasing me with it because I have actually no issue with familiar characters, familiar themes, familiar music in Star Wars. Like that's a weird. We all adore media. That's one of the weird complaints to me that they've always had, which is like, oh my god, I went to a Star Wars movie and I saw an X-wing. Like no fucking shit. Like that's like going to a baseball movie and seeing gloves and bats. Like of course these are familiar themes that show up in these things all the time. Like duh. Episode 3 was good. Yeah, I like it so far. With all TV shows, I can't give a proper assessment till like the end. There's minor things I'm crazy about. What's that?
We're close to the end.
2 more, right?
Yeah, we're halfway there. There are minor things that bother me. And part of it is I am a child of the prequels, and I wrote a whole blog about like, man, I really think the hand-to-hand combat scenes post Disney buyout suck. Like I really don't, and I understand with this one, it's a little bit more understandable because Obi-Wan's a bit older, but I'm not crazy about it. There's one thing I loved about this episode though, because it reminded me so much of old time like Cantina Star Wars. I love the Uber sequence in this. When he gets in the cab, they're essentially the equivalent of the cab, and it's the annoying taxi driver who's like, around here we love the Empire. I'm like, that was charming Star Wars like endearingness to me. So it's good so far. I have no major complaints other than it's just good. And in fairness, in both seasons of The Mandalorian, I felt that way until like the last 3 episodes. I'm like, it's good. And then you get to the end, it just blows you away. So I like where they're going.
I never did with Mando from the jump both times. I will say I like Obi-Wan. I like the show. Like I didn't like Boba Fett. Like overall, yeah. Which I don't even count the Mandalorian episodes. Those are just literal Mandalorian episodes. It's like the weirdest thing. I just didn't love Boba Fett. Like it never got to that point with me. I like this show. It's nowhere near as good as Mandalorian. Mandalorian is awesome. Mandalorian is so perfectly well. It's so it just has this aura about it. It's these quiet like missions and like beautiful scenes. The music is fucking incredible. So there you go, man. Music is such a great companion to why Mandalorian works. Like the Mandalorian having like long scenes where there's no dialogue and you just feel so immersed. The Mandalorian is just a fair level above Obi-Wan, and that's not to say I don't like Obi-Wan. It's just good. I mean, it racks up Emmy nominations for best series, so it's a good fucking show.
It's weird too because the composer, I think it's Natalie Holt, like she did Loki. Loki's soundtrack was awesome. It was so good. It was one of the best parts of the entire show. And then with this, I feel like it sounds more to me almost like CW-ish while they're having like this fight. Like the last fight we saw between Anakin and Obi-Wan, we had like fucking Battle of the Heroes playing, like one of the coolest soundtracks in all of Star Wars. And like this moment, they're meeting for the first time after like 10 plus years. It should have like really, I feel like the soundtrack should have matched the energy of that moment. And it was just kind of like goofy. Like it was like the Obi-Wan running away in like this little like sauntering Danny Elfman-esque tone. And like that to me just didn't mesh right. I feel like it needed something very different for that scene.
You know what it reminded me of? Whenever a baseball team does Star Wars night and they promote it, they're not legally allowed to use the Star Wars music. So they use like public domain rip-off Star Wars like tones. That's kind of what it sounds like, where it just feels this is like Star Wars adjacent to me. Yeah.
Which is weird because we're gonna get Duel at some point. They're gonna play that song. You're gonna hear the choir.
Yes.
It's going to happen because they've teased it so much. Like, I'd be shocked if it didn't happen. And it's going to be weird to try to jump into that from what we hear now. It's just odd. Like, I don't know what it's just so strange. I don't need the Force theme. I don't need, like, traditional themes. Like, I don't need them. But it keeps sounding like we're about to get them, and then we don't. And it's so – and maybe it's a Star Wars fan thing. Maybe not, like novice fans don't realize that. I don't know. I'd be very curious to hear what people say. But for me – as a big Star Wars fan, I keep waiting for it, and it's so much that it distracts me. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Like, what is this now? Like, I just because when you hear those certain musical cues and you're trained to that with Star Wars, which is kind of funny because there's one familiar musical cue in this show, and it's the bounty hunter musical cue when Flea was on screen. Yeah. That's the Mandalorian like bounty hunter sounds that they do, which is kind of cool. They're making like a constant. I'm like pretty sure it's similar, and so when they had that, like. I have that kind of emotional connection to the show, but everything else, like, it's weird. I'm like, oh, this is familiar. And then you go, no, it's not. I don't know what this is.
It's just off-putting. I don't know how to put it, but like, I think that you need the musical energy to match the moment you're in. And like, for us, I think too, as far as the prequels go, the entire climax of the prequels, right? It was Obi-Wan fighting Anakin and like Anakin becoming Darth Vader. Like that was the buildup of essentially 6 movies worth of shit. And like the actual song, like I believe it's Battle of the Heroes, like that lives up to that hype and then some. And then like we're getting now this rematch between them after 10 years. I feel like it's supposed to be that, not maybe exactly Battle of the Heroes, but it's got to be close and like can't be what it was. And like even just the moment of Darth Vader like torturing him and burning him across the thing, be like, now your suffering begins or whatever. Like, dude, this has got to be a darker side. The soundtrack's got to match this, man. That's a big fucking moment. And just, I don't know, didn't live up to it. I did love the guest spot from, oh shoot, I forget her name now. I almost said Indria Varma. The girl from the woman from Rome and Game of Thrones as well. She's a very good actress. But yeah, she was really good as that Imperial double agent. And Quinlan Voss, we almost forgot to mention. Quinlan Voss, great character from the Clone Wars, making an appearance apparently.
Well, I think it's gonna be O'Shea Jackson Jr.
That would make sense. Yeah,
I saw that posted all over Twitter with that.
Yeah,
with side by side.
I actually didn't. I haven't like really dove into spoiler. Is that because that would?
I saw it on a few accounts.
We haven't seen him teasing anything yet. I think did we see Kumail? We did. We'd seen Kumail in the lead up. We've seen him. It makes sense he'd be Quinlan Voss. Like that would make complete sense. Which if you know who Quinlan Voss is, just
Such a good character.
Go to YouTube, type it in. You'll figure it out from there. That'd be cool from to play that because like O'Shea Jackson, he's such a. I could talk to him. He's such a Star Wars guy. Like that's a cool character to debut, and if that's him. Kendrick, you talked about The Boys last week. You did, right?
Yeah, I think you touched on it briefly. It's awesome. First 3 episodes, I believe, are out now. Make sure you watch it because it's only going to get crazier. I think it's the best season of the show so far. And plus, I got to watch it now in full viz outside of previs. They gave us an updated copy, so I watched the full season in that, and it's even better, obviously. But yeah, great series.
I did start Stranger Things. I don't have much to say on it.
Me too.
Right now.
I got like 4 or 5 episodes deep in it.
Yeah, I don't have much to say on it yet because I need to watch more. I've only watched 2. It's great. Like it's
that creature. How great is that creature? The Vanka or whatever. Creature. It's scary as shit in that first episode.
I like it. I won't say much. I'll say more next week because I'll be fully like through it or whatever by next weekend. So I'll say more. But I started it. I did like 5 watches of recaps on YouTube. I watched like 5 different recap videos because I didn't remember shit. I remember nothing from this show. I actually was a point where I forgot if I'd even seen the last season. So I did some recap watches. I'd highly suggest it because it is good. Like it's there. The hype around it is not. It's justified. It's definitely justified. So we'll talk more about it when we rip through it next weekend. First trailer we'll talk about though, Pinocchio.
The
Disney
fifth
Plus
entry of Pinocchio over the last year.
Another Pinocchio. It's another fucking Pinocchio movie. Go watch the Pauly Shore Pinocchio movie if you get a chance.
Go to.
This looks awful.
Oh wow. Okay. You see, I thought you guys were going to say that this looked good.
No, I think it's fucking awful, which is a shame because I don't love Pinocchio. So When You Wish Upon a Star, I think is a goated song. I think that's that's it. And maybe if you haven't been to Disney, maybe it's not. I don't know. I, as someone who's been to Disney, probably less people think I've been to Disney, but I've been to Disney enough times. I like Disney. That song is goosebump inducing. It's one of those things where like you get lost in the world of going to Disney World, no matter how, say what you want about Disney and, Disney people. But when you go with your family and you have memories, you enjoy it. When You Wish Upon a Star with fireworks happen, it's awesome. It's an awesome song. So for me, that's like, I think it is the best Disney song. So hearing that in the trailer, I was like, oh, this is great. I think Jiminy Cricket looks cool. But voiced, by the way, by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. But I don't know, man. Everything else was just, I don't know. I just can't look at anything but it looks like an SNL version of Geppetto played by Tom Hanks. Like it just doesn't work, which is crazy because he's so good at playing old white dudes. Because he is an old white dude.
Hey, this guy's Italian. Geppetto's Italian. Let's be clear.
That's true. He's an old, but yes, old Italian dude in this sense. But like, it just like, it doesn't work. I don't know what it is. Maybe it works in the movie, but the man, when he's fucking wishing upon that star in the trailer, and they got the profile shot of him looking out the window, it just doesn't look right. It looks, you know what it looks like? It looks like he's doing the NBC live NBC version of Pinocchio, like they do during the summer, like once a year, like when Allison Williams played Peter Pan. Like it just doesn't. Something is off about this. I'm not like bummed. I'm not like disappointed. But it's I don't know. It's definitely. Oh man, this could be a real stinker. This could be bad.
It's I don't think Tom Hanks was necessarily the right choice for this, and I'm almost looking forward to it because I think this is going to be a year of quite bad Tom Hanks roles between this and that Baz Luhrmann Elvis movie. So I don't know. I think he's been on like a weird stretch of movies. So what was it? The Mr. Rogers movie was very good. He was awesome in that.
Very good.
Yeah.
He was awesome in that. But like outside of that, News of the World, The Post, like a lot of his movies recently, just not really up to par for old Tommy Boy.
He did that. He did those 2 Apple Plus or Apple TV movies too. He did the Greyhound, and then he did the one where he had the robot dog. Was that
the robot guy? Yeah. And like neither of those I wouldn't say any of them are like bottom barrel, like The Circle bad, but like also The Circle, add that to this list. But like none of them are particularly good. Pinocchio's a story where I don't think Pinocchio really makes it move for me at all. Like, there's nothing to it really for me besides the actual animated thing. I don't think it's something that necessarily screams this needs a live action adaptation. Like I would have even said Lion King deserved it more than Pinocchio, even though Lion King turned out to be a flop. Not financially anyway, but like, I don't know. Nothing about this interests me. And that's fine. I feel like there's kids that'll probably watch this and love it. And that's what it's built for. So that's something where it's like, we're going to have to eat crow on that eventually anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's bizarre the amount of Pinocchio talk we've had to endure on this podcast.
Too much.
I feel like every week there's been a new announcement, a new trailer.
Pinocchio.
Yeah. And in fairness, you know what? And Kenjack, you and I both like bonded over the fact that we just thought the Elvis trailer was terrible. Hearing some good things about it.
They're nothing but good things. I don't believe a word of it.
I don't think I'll like it either. I want to. Maybe I will. But I'm with both of you. Here's the problem with me is Robert Zemeckis is an iconic director. I mean, you make Back to the Future, and you do Forrest Gump. I mean, this guy's made so many good movies. But we're coming up on almost 20 years. This fucking bizarre boner that he has for weird animation has to fucking stop.
They made fun of that in Chippendale too.
Right, exactly. No, it's been around so long, it's been parodied. But it's now he's done with Beowulf and Marsney's Moms. Yeah. And now he's doing this thing where he takes dolls, inanimate objects, because maybe he's made one in between. His last movie was that masterpiece, Welcome to Marwen. Which was
made the Witches. No, the Witches was the last.
Yeah,
one.
another bad one.
Which was awful.
So was Allied, the movie that broke up.
Brad Pitt, and Angelina. Yeah,
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah,
wow, he's had a man
tough stretch.
It's tough stretch, and even some of those movies I just named, like I like Polar Express, despite the weird, creepy animation. But like, I just don't get. It's a 20-year obsession that he has with motion capture that I just don't get. Like you are so much better than this. And I'm with you. And I think this going to Disney Plus, Chippendale was awesome, but this Zemeckis Tom Hanks movie going to Disney Plus, that's a bad sign to me. Because they were adamant for a long time, we are not putting our major releases on Disney Plus. And the first one that they put on that service was, I believe, Artemis Fowl, which is one of the 10 worst movies I think I've ever seen. Yeah, and now we have this. So
this was planned though all along for Disney Plus.
Okay, it's possible. And look, if it's good.
If I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this was planned.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Which is, I don't know which ones are supposed to go, but there are a couple. But like the very, very, very forgettable, I believe Justin Theroux movie, The Lady and the Tramp. Was he in that? I might have made that up. I might have made that up.
I don't. That stuff went straight to Disney Plus. I don't think that was in theaters.
Yes, he played the tramp.
You know what would make this movie?
That was always intended to be Disney Plus too.
Yeah. You know what would make this movie immediately so much better is if there was a rival puppet maker across the street by the name of Jeff Dunham, and he had his own rival puppets, including Enzo the Dead Sicilian or something like that. And his own little cadre of a super villain, or what was his other ones besides Ahmed the Dead
you
Terrorist?
had Ahmed the Dead Terrorist.
Yeah, who's now Enzo the Dead Sicilian. But who would be the next one?
Is it now? Did he change? Oh, there's what was the other one? Peanut, right? Was a popular.
Oh, was that the old guy?
Peanut was the was like the purple monster.
I don't like that one. Puppets are so weird, dude.
Wait,
imagine that changed.
He changed Ahmed the Dead Terrorist to a. Are you making that up?
No, I made that up. That was completely. No, I'm saying for the case of our movie, for the case of his appearance in
I actually
Pinocchio.
Looked that up.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch up on that either, Jeff.
That's amazing. I was like, wait a second. That is. Did he retire Ahmed?
Yeah, I mean, he probably not.
Does that not sound like something that would happen, though?
I don't think anyone that voluntarily goes to a Jeff Dunham concert gives a fuck about his political correctness at all. Like, I don't think he needs to.
You know what's weird, though?
I thought he did retire it. That's why I was like, oh, he turned into a Sicilian guy?
No, Enzo the Dead Sicilian. He's okay, now I gotta look up his other puppets. Or most Terry Faders. I couldn't name you one of his.
You know what?
I just looked it up. First thing that comes up was Trump's inauguration predicted by Ahmed the Dead Terrorist. Oh, the internet stinks.
Do you remember? You know what movie though he was actually in? I can't remember where he was. I thought he was funny, and I'm not sure what you guys think of this. Was Dinner for Schmucks?
Dinner for Schmucks.
I'm not a big Dinner for Schmucks. We've talked about this.
You see, I actually like Dinner for Schmucks.
No, you meant there's a lot of people who do.
Yeah, and the fact that he had a puppet who was just like shit. It was like his wife who was shit talking him the entire time, like calling him a limp dick motherfucker basically in the entire movie. I thought that was funny.
There's a weird crew for like Octavia Spencer was one of that grouping in Dinner for Schmucks. Like,
Zach Galifianakis. There was somebody else I'm leaving out too.
There's Patrick something. I always forget his name. But he's like a small actor in like almost every movie.
Was it what's it? Holy shit. Chris Van Dowd. What's his name?
Yeah, so Chris Dowd was
Chris
definitely
Dowd.
one of them. Chris Dowd was one of them.
Yeah, he was the blind swordsman. Yeah.
Yes. You know, I'm looking at
problem with that movie is that the dinner is really funny and everything else is like it takes 2 hours to get there for some reason.
Not that funny, yeah. I'm looking at the list of Jeff Dunham's puppets. I didn't realize you had this one. Jose Jalapeno.
I knew that. We did a thing with when we were doing our fictional debate series during COVID where I tried to get like fake Jeff Dunham stuff to do cameos for us. And so I really went through the whole library of Jeff Dunham characters. The bad run for Zemeckis. I mean, The
Horrible.
Witches, Welcome to Marwen, Allied, The Walk, which was fine, but there's a documentary that's significantly better.
Man on Wire is
way
top
better.
5
Flight,
documentary
I never really liked Flight.
I like Flight.
I find Flight hard to watch too. I'm not a big flyer. I don't love flying. A
Hate
Christmas
flying.
Carol, Beowulf. Oh,
Bad. Real bad.
Polar Express. I don't love Polar Express. I think the Josh Groban song is awesome. The most memorable
that's
thing
true. I forgot about that.
The most memorable thing about Polar Express is the meme. Should I put on Mo Bamba or Sicko mode?
Yeah. I forgot. Nerdy kid.
Yeah. What Lies Beneath? Bad. Castaway, really great movie.
Yeah, that's good.
Contact is, you know what? Contact's not amazing, but Contact gets a pass.
Yeah, Contact's
Forrest Gump. And yeah, then we start to get. I mean, honestly, if we're talking like two best Zemeckis movies, it might be Back to the Future and then Who Framed Roger Rabbit. God, I fucking love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. What about before its time movie? Bob Hoskins, rest in peace.
Tough couple decades for the Z-Man.
Bad.
I mean, I would say really, if you're talking great movies, the last one there is probably Castaway. I mean, really. Yeah.
Next up, trailer for the Hunger Games prequel, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which will now be starring Rachel Zegler, who was in West Side Story. Follows the story of a young President Snow as he develops feelings for the female District 12 tribute during the 10th Hunger Games. This is a book, and apparently it sucks ass.
Really?
I wouldn't know. Everyone says the book sucks. I don't know. What I do know is I like one of the Hunger Games movies a lot. I love Catching Fire. I think it's like a hot take of a mainstream movie. I think it's legitimately a great movie. I love the characters. Jeffrey Wright, awesome. Great Philip Seymour Hoffman role. He's so it's a perfect, very quiet, his character almost reminds me of his character from Mission Impossible 3, by the way, which is like a cool villain. The Mockingjay Part 1 and Part 2 are tough. I don't think they're awful, but I just don't love them. The first one was weird. The directing was so shaky cam and odd. But it's fine. I love Catching Fire. I don't know. I would like for this to be good. I like The Hunger Games is an inherently cool universe with really cool concepts and bright colors, but also some areas it's not the contrast of the world of The Hunger Games, I think is really cool. And I'll always welcome more of it. I just don't know. Also, no franchise loves to do a teaser trailer more that's just the reveal of a logo than The Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Unreal. The Hunger Games, if you told me they released a teaser, I would have put money on it. I actually didn't know there was a teaser, and I said, this is going to be a fucking logo that gets a cool 3D animation and is revealed. I don't know what it is, but about that IP, they fucking love logo reveals. So it's not really a teaser, but yeah, that's the news on that. I don't know. We'll see. I've heard the book is bad, so not a great sign.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's one of those things where now I think the movies have outpaced the books to a sense where the books are obviously a huge cultural phenomenon and all that, in the same way that Harry Potter was. But I do think that more people know it from the movies than they do from the book, if that makes sense. So I don't think if necessarily the book is a huge indicator on whether or not it's going to be good. Personally, like Hunger Games, like I agree with you in that I think the world itself is cool. Like that dystopian future is interesting. I think that the actual execution of it was very YA, which makes sense because it's a young adult series, whatever, that's fine. I would rather see a version of the Hunger Games universe that is like more, not like R-rated, but like I would like to see like the true actual like really bloody grittiness of this, because it should be like way scarier than I think it actually is. It should be like fucking the most dangerous game shit. Like, but like I think there is obviously a watered down element to it, which is fine because again, that's who it's the movie isn't built for full grown ass adults versus like the YA audience the books are built for. Not super excited, but I would say like this is almost on the level of like, what was it, the House of the Dragon with Game of the Thrones, where it's like something like no one really knows a bunch about, but they're getting a late sequel to see how they can shake it out. So I don't know. I like Rachel Zegler a lot, so I'm willing to give it a chance for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
quickly, Chris, before you go, I just want to, before you make your point, I just want to note breaking news: best villain at the MTV Movie Awards. Colin Farrell, the Batman; Willem Dafoe, Spider-Man: No Way Home; Victoria Pedretti from You; James Jude Courtney as Michael Myers from Halloween Kills; and Daniel Radcliffe, The Lost City. Daniel Radcliffe took home the award. Congratulations to Daniel Radcliffe on taking home best villain. Which I forgot was a movie until just now.
Yeah,
he was a pretty good villain for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, he was. I didn't think that would win. That's an award show that Spider-Man would sweep up. But yeah, sure.
He had a great line in that movie where he's like, "I want you to kill that man creatively." That was fun. Yeah, he was having fun with that. No, with this, look, I was never a big Hunger Games guy, and that was like my demographic at the time. I think I was 16 when the first Hunger Games came out. That first movie has so much fucking shaky cam with the action. It drove me nuts.
Which they changed director from first to second,
right? And it improved a lot. And you're right. I think generally speaking, the second one is the most well received by far. But I can't give an analysis on. They showed a fucking logo, so I don't know how good the movie looks, but. I think beyond that, I don't think this is going to do that well because the Hunger Games peaked with Catching Fire, and the two movies that came after it did not do nearly as well as the first two did. I just don't think there's much of a demand for this, and I don't think we've reached that like Avatar nostalgia window where people who grew up on these movies are now like excited again to watch them. I love Rachel Zegler, but I think the whole young adult craze was a early, I guess it was actually started probably, you could say it started with Harry Potter, but it was a 2000s to mid 2010s trend that I don't think it's going to continue here unless of course it's really good. I mean, who thought Top Gun Maverick was going to be a potentially $1 billion movie?
That's true.
They rarely turn out, I feel like, YA properties to be good movies, like whether it's Maze Runner or what was the one
Divergent.
Divergent. That's always the one I would never forget.
Pathetic series ever.
Yeah. Like I feel like they very rarely they like pan out, and both of those are almost in the same realm of like dystopian futures too.
Oh,
so like it's usually a pretty low success rate, but obviously Hunger Games massively financially successful. So
yeah, Maze Runner I didn't mind. I remember thinking Maze Runner had
Maze Runner the fart trials. Remember that?
The Death Cure in theaters is the longest we've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Dylan O'Brien, so I remember thinking they were okay, but yeah,
it was 2 hours and 20. It was the longest 2 hours and 24 minutes of my life, and it's not even like a 0 out of 100 for like it's just we sat there, we were like, holy fucking shit. We were like, what the fuck? That's all we were doing is we were just watching movies at that point because we weren't at Barstool yet. And we were like, Jesus Christ. Also, Wes Ball, the director of Maze Runner, was college roommates with Barry Jenkins.
Really?
The director of Moonlight.
Yes. What a weird combination. And also the director of Lion King Part 2, whenever that comes out.
Yes, which is always interesting. And if Bill Street could talk. I mean, Barry Jenkins has only and
great
there's a really you can watch it. I think you can see it on YouTube called Medicine for Melancholy with the comedian Wyatt Cenac. It's the first movie that Barry Jenkins did. I would highly suggest it. That is also on movierankings.net. Fully updated, by the way. We were like a week behind because I was very busy. But yeah, Barry Jenkins is only bangers. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. That's Lion King Part 2. That's a really that I love that though. That's such a challenge when you release Moonlight, if Beale Street Could Talk, I'm telling you, check out Medicine for Melancholy. When you're only releasing just like heaters, and then you got to do Lion King live action part 2,
small production heaters too, to like arguably one of the biggest fucking productions you can possibly have.
There's a bunch of like Barry Jenkins interviews on YouTube, like long ones that I've listened to. He might be my favorite director just to listen to talk. He's just like he's an awesome visionary. He's a dream interview for me. I would love to hear him talk movies.
One of the biggest directing power couples ever, him and Lulu Wang, who did The Farewell, among many other things.
The Menu, starring Ralph Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Nicholas Hoult, hits theaters in November. Trailer for this, very interesting trailer, like really good trailer. A young couple travels to a remote island to eat at an exclusive restaurant with a chef prepared a lavish menu with some shocking surprises. That's like a pretty horrible fucking synopsis. We gotta do better than that.
This guy's got a menu.
It's a molecular gastronomy menu. One of those like crazy menus is treated as conceptual art, but his approach to cuisine is some shock. Jesus fucking Christ! Can we get him? Can we at least tell the story a little? What's it about? Anyway, it's a fucking wild ass movie. Looks crazy.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get people getting eaten in this, and that's something that always plays, especially after like Fresh. Fresh was so good, by the way. More people got to watch that on Hulu. Sebastian Stan movie. I thought that trailer was sick. I mean, it's Nicholas Hoult and who's opposite?
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy, and obviously two massively talented young actors right there. Ralph Fiennes, probably one of the most legendary older generation of actors there is. Like, what could go wrong, right? Like, that's just such a great combination of human beings. It has to work.
Yeah, it was hard for me to really decipher what this thing was about, but man, when in doubt, just look at the cast. I mean, Ralph Fiennes, Nicholas Hoult, Anya Taylor-Joy, that's 3 actors who not only are very famous, but are pretty consistent with their roles in terms of the projects they take on. Nicholas Hoult, I feel like should be a bigger actor than he is. Like, he's already like pretty relatively famous, but I've liked him in pretty much everything I've seen him in. So yeah, I mean, I am looking forward to this. I'm intrigued by it. I want to see another trailer just to get a better semblance of the story. But
people be like chasing the woods and shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy looking. And Ray finds in any villainous role. Yes, please.
Yeah. No.
You know what Nicholas Hoult movie I was watching recently because it came on TV was just Jack the Giant Slayer, I think. Like, people forget he had like a weird string of movies like before he like hit his bigger break, and then he's been in stuff like The Favorite. He was awesome in that. Awesome. In The Great, he's such a great actor in that. No pun intended. Like so many other things. Obviously, Mad Max. Like he's awesome. Obviously, and so is Anya Taylor-Joy. And you know what movie this? Every time I see Ray Fiennes, it immediately makes me want to rewatch In Bruges because his role in that is one of the funniest like pound for pound characters maybe ever. It fucking kills. He kills me in that movie.
And lastly, Sony got catfished into re-releasing Morbius.
Made $85 at theater.
What a fucking losers! Joke, dude. What an insane joke. Just so Morbius has been memed a lot, and it's a joke of like it's Morbin time. Is like, and they want him to say it in a sequel. They want them to re-release it and have him say it's Morbin time. Jared Leto even got in on the joke and was reading like a script. So you know what? Shout out to Leto. He gets a lot of shit, but at least he ate it and played along. So they re-released it because people were talking about it. Like, oh fuck, maybe the second time around people watch it. And I tweeted, I quote tweeted, and I will know. Somebody said you stole it. I don't know. Other people must have tweeted it before me, but I said, did Sony get catfished into releasing Morbius? I couldn't actually. I just thought it was a joke story that they were re-releasing. I was like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And then turned out like 2 days later, made like $85,000, and it's like it got catfished. They did get catfished. Re-releasing Morbius, which has to be so exhausting. It's like, God damn it, man. Just put it to bed. Get rid of it already.
Well, you see, that's what scared me, Jeff, is I thought, and that's why I tweeted, this isn't funny anymore, because what worried me is that in this age of everything's got to be ironic and quirky, people are ironically going to go see the movie, and studio executives are going to, because studio executives are stupid. We're going to say, this thing got a second life. Let's revamp this universe. Now, thankfully, it was all a joke. It was all a joke to just like see if they could grow the popularity and then never go back to see the movie. You know what's so bizarre? And the one thing I said in our review for Morbius is I wish I would have hated it more because its biggest problem is that it's the single most pathetic movie ever. I don't even think it's really that awful. Like Catwoman, Batman and Robin, Four Stick, like those are awful fucking superhero movies. This one's just forgettable. And I wonder if this is going to get some cult like Second Life.
I don't think so.
I think it's dead.
I think
Morbius is the dead vampire, no longer the undead vampire.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It was a truly weird story, and I wonder if the re-release included the stupid. I don't think we talked about this. The Michael Keaton, how they cut out the I think it has something to do with Spider-Man. Line in theaters. I mean, just a movie that was made with absolutely zero like love or intent. It was just a movie trying to start a universe. So yeah.
I've never walked out of a theater faster in my life. Like while complete. Like when I tell you, my ass was up before as the credits were rolling. I was like, get me the fuck out of here. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I was YouTubing the post credits thing. I know they already leaked on there. I was like, this is exhausting movie.
Yes.